Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another round of sound. It's Sunday night. You know what that means. It's the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. I'm Bob Pompeani. Thanks for joining us. As always, we have a lot to talk about. We'll get into Pitt. They control their own destiny. Can they reach the ACC championship game? And more importantly, the playoff. We'll talk about that. Also, World Series. You may not like the teams involved, but the entertainment factor was very high. But the #1 topic tonight on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown is going to be the Steelers coming away with a big win over a team that was 7-1. Here to talk about it, Will Graves from the Associated Press, Mark Kaboly from the Pat McAfee Show, and Mr. Chris Mueller, 93.7 The Fan, the PM team. Mark, start with you on this one. This team came in here with all the numbers. The Steelers were struggling. It's a week-to-week business, we know. We look around these scoreboards and you see some of the results, like Carolina beating Green Bay in Green Bay. The Steelers played well today. They did everything they wanted to do, although I thought Indianapolis helped them by not going to Jonathan Taylor early in this game. Yeah. Even though they scored on that drive, I thought that was kind of strange. What
was it, Will? I think we're looking somewhere in the second quarter before he had back-to-back carries. I mean, I don't know what you're thinking of right there, of not feeding the potential NFL MVP the ball as much as you can, especially what you saw out of the Steelers against Chase Brown and some of the other teams were able to run against them, and how easy it has been the time to breaking it open. And I said this before the game, if you want to win this game, you put it in Danny Dimes' hands, even though he's played well, and you say, you go win this game for us. And I think they were pretty much willing to do that, and he didn't win the game for him. I think it was a mistake. Steichen might own Mike Tomlin, but I think Steichen got in his own head today and just overthought what he should have done.
Well, I think that it was Mike Tomlin's defense doing what it does best and working the way it's supposed to work in Mike's mind, which is I have better players or I have elite players and they'll make plays. It didn't look like it was a mistake when Danny Dimes marched them right down the field, nor did it look like a mistake when they got the ball back and they started moving again. And then I think the whole game changed when TJ Watt strip sacked him. I mean, I think that flipped the game completely. They were getting their hands up, they were batting passes down, but that seemed to rattle the Colts. They couldn't separate from the Steelers, and then things started turning. I did notice, like everybody else, they didn't give Taylor the ball that much, but when they did give it to him, it wasn't like he was like really getting into a rhythm. I thought Cam Hayward coming into this game, Will, has had Quentin Nelson's number, relatively speaking, and he was pushing him around again. I just think that Watt strip sack, that's the Mike Tomlin method. We're going to turn you over and we're going to flip games, and I think that play flipped this one.
I mean, I think we were talking, Kaboly and I were standing right there talking to TJ after the game, and he said, look, I understand why they passed the ball. Like, maybe it's a shot at us, but we were able to be disruptive. It was one of those games, where there were like two of these this season where they're not playing well and they're playing a good team, and like, how is this going to happen? And then they find a way. They find, like, this is a Tomlin special, just like they have the one or two that they stub their toe and lose to a team they shouldn't lose to. I would just say this was, I wrote about this. I'm sure Kaboly's going to write about this for McAfee. It was Danny Dimes sort of reverting back to the New York version, because Chris is right. As soon as he got hit, the game, he was a different player after that.
Well, because he was cooking them early. I mean, he looked good. Alec Pierce was getting whatever he wanted down the field. Like, I really thought early on, going into the game, I thought it was going to be like a 10-point Colts win. That's what I honestly thought was going to happen. And all the makings were there early. And then, for whatever reason, yeah, he couldn't get himself back on track. They couldn't get back on track. And the Steelers had, like, what was really weird, and Steichen, Mark, I would think, would maybe know this and be like, all right, we got to start working around this. The guy's 6'5". How is he getting that many passes batted down? It's not like Drew Brees or Kyler Murray is back there. They were getting to this guy and getting hands up every single time, it seemed like.
They were probably getting pushed on the line of scrimmage. And they came into this game with 4 turnovers.
Yeah, and 6.
Today. So that play.
Their takeaway, giveaway thing shrunk dramatically after this.
Obviously, it's a cliche, I guess, to a point. If they turn the ball over, the Steelers have a better chance of winning. But this team is like live and die by it, man. Right. They turn it over, you're going to win this game.
I guess that's my takeaway though going forward is I think this obviously was this staunched the bleeding, and then with Cincy losing that feels even better, and then you feel a little worse about the Cincy loss because, man, 6-2 right now would look really good, except they've got some wins in hand over teams currently leading divisions, and they're only one back in the loss column, so you start to dream big a little bit. But here's my thing. Man, turnovers are not, as we have seen with them in this season, not something you can hang your hat on week to week and say, we're going to turn these teams over and that's how we're going to win football games. And that's what has me still a little leary.
That's what a lot of people think, and I do too. You got to show you can win a game without having a turnover. Well, just doing it by forcing 3 and outs over and over again.
The box score looked like New England. It looked, where there was a bunch. They got outgained, in that game, 369 to 210. Today it was what 3.
Well, a lot of that came later too.
You're right. You would like to see them maybe. It sounds weird to say this, but 6. We all know that 6 turnovers is not sustainable. They're not going to get.
We're all
that
talking
every week.
2000 Ravens. I think of the 2000 Ravens defense, and to Bob's point about you got to show people you can just keep generating 3 and outs. They were just a brick wall. They wouldn't always turn you over, but you'd get 2 yards on first down, 1 yard on second, and then you might throw a 4-yard pass, but too bad it was 3rd and 6, and then you'd punt. The Patriots game, I give them more credit for this one. I thought their defense was more the reason than just some fumbled ball luck. Right. They were forcing the turnovers this time, but you cannot make a living off that week to week.
And they were on the cuffs too. It was almost reverse of what Green Bay was in that first quarter. It was they were close.
They were on the brink.
Go, man.
They were on the brink for sure.
Look who's up next: Herbert, Flacco again, Lamar, Allen at the end of November. They're not going to get Danny Dimes.
Are you going to get 4 or 5 turnovers a game? We can all answer that. No, you'd be the greatest defense in history if you did.
But the offense should be playing better than it did.
Well, that's what leads me to this question about Darnell Washington. All of a sudden, he's one of the more targeted guys they have out there. Aaron Rodgers clearly likes how he plays and wants to feature him. Can we expect more? You have tight ends, again, with big contributions. Freiermuth had a couple of catches, including a touchdown on him. How much more can you get out of Darnell Washington, or should they?
I don't know if you can get much more. I think he's pretty much at his max right now. I don't know what else you can ask from him to do. He's a red zone target. He's a short yardage target. He can block. I like to see more from Freiermuth, obviously. And I think Jonnu Smith has just fallen by the wayside. Maybe rightfully so after that first place.
I don't think they know how to use Jonnu correctly. The ball should have been caught. He's got to find a way to catch it. The ball could have been slightly better on that first play.
Do you put him on the trading block tomorrow? Tuesday?
Possibly. Because they're more committed to Freiermuth, and Freiermuth started to warm up and make plays. I think the one thing about their pass catchers in this game was Indy's been good at negating wide receiver 1 types all year, and that was a theme for them, and they kept Metcalf more or less in check. So I think that's why you did see some other faces getting involved.
There were some unique personnel groups. It was almost like Arthur Smith wanted to make sure everybody got their varsity letter today. They had a personnel group down at the goal line where they had Skoranek, Roman Wilson, Anderson, Darnell, and Jalen Warren. That was the skill position group. That being said, as a Jonnu Smith fantasy owner, I would certainly like to see Jonnu Smith a little more involved. But Metcalf, to be honest with you, Chris, a couple times Metcalf was open.
Dropped it.
He was.
Well, no, but
on the one to Darnell Washington, he was in a better position to get it.
And he kind of put his hands up, but he did not go full Pickens.
Yeah.
It did not become an issue.
We got to go to a break.
4 drops, and that's.
I will tell you this: so the Steelers did if you came into the game thinking they had to stop Taylor, they did 45 yards. Stop Tyler Warren, they did. Just 26 yards. They did everything, plus all the turnovers, and Danny Dimes didn't look like much beyond a dime. When we come back, we're going to talk about the trade deadline coming up, because it's next, just a couple of days from now. What will the Steelers do, if anything? That's coming up next right here on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. All right, welcome back. We're talking about the Steelers, how they leveraged all these turnovers and turned them into points. 3 of them directly resulted in touchdowns, and that's how you make them really stand up. But they still have some issues, some concerns, some needs, and you have the trade deadline in the NFL coming up this week. So, Will, I want to start with you on this one. What do they do, if anything, and what areas should they try to enhance?
They should. Would they need a wide receiver too? What do we think? We've been.
I like Calvin Austin. When Calvin Austin's healthy, I like the way they try to utilize him, and it works well enough. But of course, yes,
I don't think they're going to say no.
They're not going to say no.
The question is, how big of a move will that be?
I don't know, but I will say this. The fact that Kyle Duggar got here on Thursday and started today and had 4 tackles, I understand offense is a little bit different than defense, but credit to the coaching staff for really for Omar for finding a guy that could literally plug and play.
And they needed it too.
If they could find a guy like that, a receiver type that's low maintenance, that hard worker, low profile, but I don't know. I don't know how much is even going to be out there, to be honest with you.
I might look at the free safety. Do they have a free safety right now?
That's what Ramsey
Ramsey
lines up as such.
I would like to see Jalen Ramsey play that position, but maybe not exclusively like he did today. So I don't know if there's any free safeties out there at all, but I mean, he's not going to kick out a wide receiver just because if Calvin Austin's been hurt twice already, 3 times over his career, and you can see that teams can take away Metcalf. And
Roman Wilson fumbling late did not probably help his cause.
I thought he was on an ascent. Now that may have stalled it.
Need a veteran guy. I mean, more than Marquez whatever his name is.
Valdez-Scantling, yeah.
More than him. But, I mean, trust Omar, man. He got Duggar for free. Basically free.
The thing that, like, since it was obviously said to Ian Eagle and J.J. Watt in the production meetings, clearly Tomlin and everybody else told him we simplified the defense. Right. Because we always hear about the moving train. Well, apparently Duggar was just jogging right next to that train, jumping right into the lineup. And, like, so why can't you do that on offense? If you do bring in a receiver, because we always hear about these guys come from out of the organization and, they got to learn what we do. Man, don't you have somebody you could bring in that's maybe like a Valdez-Scantling, Mark, or like a one attribute guy, right? He'll run past people and he's going to drop it, but he might catch a couple. Find somebody like that that's out there. Shaheed, anybody.
And maybe it is Valdez-Scantling just for the fact that you don't have to catch up with Aaron Rodgers. He likes you. He made that well known on Wednesday that those two have a chemistry, so you don't have that space of getting to learn each other either. He might not,
They need somebody that can run down the field and throw go balls to.
53. I mean, that's the problem, right?
I would too.
That's why he's not here. He wants to be on the 53.
And he would be a practice squad player here for now.
And once there's somebody hurt, he goes to 53.
All right, I want to talk about the odds here because it's interesting to me that the odds of winning the division right now are still in favor of the Baltimore Ravens. They're 3-5. They came off back-to-back wins. They look very good against Miami. Mark, let's start with you on this one. If you had to place a bet right now, Steelers or Baltimore, Steelers have a 2-game edge. They're still head-to-heads. Who would you bet?
Well, hopefully it would be like the bet I made today, and I accidentally didn't press send, and I would have lost. So, hey, I won money by not betting. I think what Vegas is seeing is the schedule. I mean, that Ravens schedule is.
It does get harder at the end.
Not very easy not very difficult over the next 4 or 5 games. So what I look at is if you get to that December game at both of them tied, then it's anybody's ball game. And I think that's where they're heading to right now. Right now, would I make a bet? If you guarantee me Lamar Jackson's going to be healthy, I'd pick them.
I think once the Ravens got to within 2 of the Steelers in the loss column is when we saw these odds flip back to Baltimore, and that reflects something very clear. They think, the Steelers have a very difficult schedule, which they do. Lions still, Bills still. Yeah, I know. Any given Sunday, I know. Packers lost to the Panthers, truly any given Sunday. But they're just figuring the Ravens are 2 games back in the loss column. They get them twice. They're going to beat them twice because they're better. They look better when they win usually. And I didn't even think they looked that good against Miami. Miami shot themselves in the foot. But the Steelers are a turnover-dependent team that can run a little hot and cold offensively and have looked very bad. I'd pick the Ravens too still because I think the Steelers have at least 2 or 3 more losses, bare minimum, left on that schedule, probably more.
Well, I mean, I think had they lost today, I would have definitely said the Ravens. I think today's game sort of gives them a little bit of, our record against Lamar Jackson's not that bad, which is true. And the Ravens defense, is not fixed. It's healthier, but it was a problem when they were healthy at the beginning of the season. So I don't want to sit here and pretend that it's all better because Lamar's back, right? So I think they have I would give the Steelers a 55-45 advantage right now.
Yeah,
had they lost today, I would have probably flipped those up.
They also typically do well against the Ravens. They at least split.
Not lately, though, because the whole rub there was that Lamar never sees them twice in a year because he doesn't have to because he's sitting in the second game. And everyone said last year, wait, he's got to actually play them the second time. He'll make adjustments. And then they blew their doors off the last 2.
All right.
I don't think Henry's playing. It looks like he's lost a quarter of a step. Maybe it's because Lamar hasn't been there. Maybe that's.
I still think if he gets granted.
I'm not saying
be careful what you wish for here.
I'm not saying he's not good.
I'm not going to co-sign that.
He just looks a little like he's taken about 10,000 carries in his life.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the resurgence Pitt Panthers. They're on the prowl, 5 wins in a row. Can they win the ACC? Who thought that possible at the beginning of the season? We'll get into that next right here on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. Nobody saw this coming, but the Pitt Panthers control their destiny, getting to an ACC championship game after a win yesterday in Stanford. They fly home. They get a bye week. They have Notre Dame, at Georgia Tech, and then Miami. And Miami doesn't look the way they once did. So, Chris, can they? Will they? Do you think it's that easy to say they control their destiny and they have a Georgia Tech team on the road, but that team looked awful yesterday against NC State?
Yeah, the Notre Dame game doesn't really matter as much, obviously, although if you beat let me put it this way, if you beat Notre Dame, you beat Georgia Tech, you beat Miami, and you're 10-2 with those 3 wins.
Oh.
And then you don't make the ACC title game because the conference is a mess, which absolutely could happen still, that they could win out and not make it, I believe, based on tiebreakers. Then you get into some interesting territory where they warrant an at-large bid with those 3, bagging those 3 pelts to end the season. But Georgia Tech, if they're coming off a bye week, I would not like that as much for Pitt because Haynes King and those guys are rough and tumble, and I think they might have been a little beat up. Miami's bad in cold weather. They go to Dallas, it was like 50 degrees, and they look like a different team. Mario Cristobal's terrible when it comes to managing games. I think Pitt is having a reverse of last year, boys. Start 7-0, lose 5, lose out, and now they've got a jolt. Heinzel's been so good. He's added such a different dimension. He passes it really well. He also gives them a thing that they have rarely had. They feel like they've got a guy with an it factor right now playing quarterback, even when he was sloppy in the 4th quarter yesterday.
And Pony ready for him to start on the Steelers, I'm pretty sure, succeeding Aaron Rodgers.
We got to keep Heinzel away from Pony. We got to keep him away. We got to make Pony not tweet about him. I mean, he's been Pony-proof so far.
What's Kyle McCord doing, right?
I mean, I would say if Des Reed and Kyle Lewis are healthy, and Kyle obviously played yesterday, if those 2 guys are healthy, I think Pitt has a chance. Those 2 guys, to me, are as important to the team as Heinzel is, really. I mean, and I got to give Pat credit, in the day of NIL where, I mean, look, as Pony has pointed out here, Eli Holstein's made more money than Paul Skeens this year. Mm-hmm. Certainly making more money than a freshman quarterback. The fact that he made that move now, with all the ramifications that weren't even there 5 years ago, the team, Cade Bell identified this guy. He's come along.
Knowing what we know now about him, Mark, and I hate to bring this up because it's going back, revisionist, whatever. They lost 2 games that they really could have and should have won. If they felt this way about Heinzel before it ever came to that, I know that Holstein was the guy who's making the money. Would they have been better off making this move even earlier? And again, I give Pat Narduzzi a lot of credit for doing it.
Some of the people you talk to, and I don't talk to too many Pitt guys, but the ones you talked to said you could tell that he was good in camp. You could tell.
Pat all but admitted that he was he intimated, hey,
so
I think this guy's
the only thing stopping him was the fact that he gave the money.
Which is one of the downfalls that you really see of the NIL. You owed Holstein those starts because of that money.
I don't know. I think even if there wasn't NIL and you had a guy, even though they had faded badly last year, who had won you a bunch of games.
He played well last year. He did play well.
He had.
Did he get a raise this year?
To start with, he had played well last year. Even in the non-NIL era, I think Holstein would have gotten the benefit of the doubt for a couple of games. So the Louisville one's the one that hurts because
it's a conference game.
If they win that game, and Holstein was a big reason why they blew that lead, then they're in a totally different spot right now. But
are they undefeated? Are they undefeated?
If they start Heinzel from week 1, I actually think they are because he learns on the job against overmatched opponents. I think they probably are. They're the story of college football.
If they knew it,
week 1 guy.
I know it's a tough call to make. He finally made the call, and it's a good call by Pat Narduzzi.
Don't you think they kind of did know it? The fact that they made the call at all to a fresh. I think they kind of did.
He's learned. I mean, but he also he started Jurkovec probably at least 1 game too many. Right? I mean, he is.
He's a veteran guy.
And Eli, to be fair to Eli, when he was healthy last year, he was really good. And we were talking about how great this.
Would you agree he wasn't this good though? He wasn't this good. Heinzel's looked like he's got a different.
Heinzel can move.
He's got a different.
And he knows when to move too.
He's got a different gear, I think, than Holstein showed.
But I think in a weird way, the juice is they needed this to happen because what if Eli they eke out those 2 games? They beat West Virginia and Louisville, and he stays the quarterback, and then they lose 3. Right? Yeah. So I think in a weird way it helped out.
It should be a top 25 team, but Graves didn't vote him in the top 25.
They have to be in the top 25 this week.
No.
We have to take a break. When we come back, World Series. Did the Dodgers ruin baseball? We'll talk about it next. Hey, if you're in the market for a new vehicle, don't settle for anything less than #1 Cochran Kia's clearly better car buying experience. You can enjoy exclusive clear-cut pricing where you get their most competitive offer up front. Take advantage of exceptional lease and finance rates and choose from a lineup of nearly 200 new models. You can experience clearly better car buying at #1 Cochran Kia, in-store, online, cochrankia.com. Will Graves, I say this knowing that I don't think they did, but do you believe the Dodgers ruined baseball and the fact that they're winning now? This is a lot of, and no salary cap, no floor. I think they need both. Your take.
Don't hate the player, hate the game, Pomp. What do you want me to say? It was great theater last night. I got to watch
terrific.
it. I got to watch it with my 16-year-old. We don't hang out that much anymore. He's growing up, but we sat there, watched all 4 hours, all 11 innings. And look, we could say what we want about the Dodgers. Fundamentally sound baseball team, and it wasn't their highest paid guys making the plays.
Absolutely.
Well, you know, we tend to forget the team that they were playing was making
fifth highest.
285.
This wasn't exactly David and Goliath. This was like two Goliaths. One was slightly bigger.
But they reinvest in their product, which is what I want the Pirates to do. They don't do that, and that's why they don't need to be forced to do it.
With the Dodgers is they get guys like Yamamoto, is that his name? Yamamoto?
Yeah, he was the MVP.
And Ohtani, guys that probably
Sasaki, too.
not a lot of teams have that capital to even bring them over. As in the.
So, I mean, they didn't ruin baseball. They're doing what their fans want to do and what their finances and the realities of the sport allow them to do. It's a sport that's always going to be focused on the big markets. I mean, if everyone wants a work stoppage to try to see this through, guess what? I think you're going to get what you want. But I'll say quickly, it makes me more mad that Rojas and all these unsung guys. Can we at least have Ohtani hit the walk-off home run 500 feet? At least, like, get what you pay for. Also, it was nice to have a little Pirates flavor in Game 7 with a horrible job base running by IKF, literally costing the Toronto Blue Jays a world championship, because it did.
We're out of time on that segment. Back with more right after this. It's been fun. We are out of time. Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll do it again next week after the Steelers and the Chargers. When that game is over, switch over. We'll be live right here for the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown.
Shout out Wanda Keene, Dream Team right tonight. Let's go.